We're starting the recording session for this wonderful morning. I just have a good announcement to make today. We have the YouTube channel actually finally launched, and you can access all the previous videos with the channel, so please feel free to do so. I'm going to show you the links and how to access the channel now in case you haven't had a chance. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and share my screen. So if you go to your class portal with Blackboard, you should be able to see, as usual, the first top link that we have is dedicated for the virtual classroom. In case you can't make it to class, you can always join me live with this link as we're doing it right now with Teams. The second link is the one that takes you to the YouTube channel portal. So I just figured it's the best way to upload those videos without granting access every time, because it was becoming a little bit of a nuisance for me. Like I teach another class, I have the same thing I have to do. If I do the math like 60 times, I gotta hit approve, 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 like every time you guys wanna watch a video. It's becoming ridiculous. And the other way was to add you to my teams, but I have to do it manually one by one, and it's a very tedious process. It's not that easy, and I have to authenticate you and back and forth. So I just figured the other teachers were doing the YouTube, so I said, why not? So lo and behold, here it is. If you click on the YouTube channel link, you should access the actual channel here, and you'll have this access to all these channels that we made, all the videos. I had to edit some of them. Some of them were, maybe I left the record button on and kept recording, so I had to do some editing. I wanted to make a thumbnail so it's more user-friendly and stuff. So you have class 3. Now this is where we really started with Illustrator. I think we missed like the beginning intro class when it was like really nothing. It was just like drawing boxes and circles. But this is when we really started using Illustrator from the intermediate level to the advanced level right through, okay? And then we have, of course, the Photoshop modules from last week. So if you just click on this, you can easily go and watch these tutorials right here, okay? Recorded, I'm gonna all look at each other's work from time to time. Okay, so there's the videos there, and you can obviously, don't forget to subscribe, like, and all that kind of stuff. It just keeps you updated, and it makes my channel better, I guess, for everybody to follow, okay? So I'll just do that. And yeah, I'm not gonna make a career of YouTube, don't worry. That's not my plan. But it's a good tool, right? Tools are tools, you might as well use them. And I use YouTube a lot with even my clients. Like, we're not gonna upload videos, sometimes they're too big. We just use YouTube and we embed the YouTube source into the website, right? And that's how you would play it, even if it's educational videos, anything like that. So I use YouTube for other reasons, right? And I had a channel like a long time ago, we used to do stuff. So this is a good time, an opportunity to do it, all right? So that works, everything's fine. The 2 links are right on top, easy to access. We're continuing the Photoshop module. So if you click on that folder right there, you should see class number 9. Today is class number 9, week number 10. So we're gonna start doing the Facebook ad, okay? And this is what the assignment will be. I'm gonna go over it with you now. And then we have some MacBook Pro sources or resources, which is just things we can use for the exercise. Now you can pick any theme that you like, okay? But that's how the Facebook ad will be generated in there. I deal with a lot of different companies and marketing affiliations and stuff. And a company in the US I think it's I didn't really do my investigation how big they are, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty good at what they do. And I do have the download option that they gave me. And this is what a lot of companies advertise now with Facebook. They have a package called Facebook Pro, just to show you how marketing works with certain companies. A lot of people use Google Ads or Google AdWords, LinkedIn, it's a good professional platform. There's the Instagrams and the TikToks, but Facebook is still considered one of the top choices for a lot of professionals as well, especially when it comes to medical or dental, even like stuff that I do. And this is the company that gave me a little literature on how they approach their Facebook advertising process. So Facebook has billions of daily users, okay? So that's a lot of people. Taking advantage of Facebook's awesome power for small business requires focus and discipline. That OMG's Facebook Pro synthesizes its way through the broader reach of the social network to locate the target customers. The product uses Facebook's powerful marketing tools to create more meaningful customers interactions that generate real results. And Meta's always on top of their stuff too, right? So it's a pretty good affiliation with Instagram and Facebook together. And this is some of the things that they offer. This is a professional company that does this, right? So I was just curious to see, what other people are doing with Facebook. This is called OMG National. So they do like analytics. They know how to do the target audience, all that advertising demographical stuff, okay? So I thought I'd share this with you because it falls in line with the assignment that we're doing. Now, you don't have to do none of this stuff. This is not a social media class. But I mean, since you're doing the ad, and if you want to make something of it, sure, you can actually get paid doing this. I meet a lot of different, graphic designers or different entrepreneurs, and a lot of them tell me they made some money doing Facebook ads for companies, right? So it's a pretty high in demand skill to have. So today's lesson might even help you generate that kind of extra revenue if you're looking for it, right? You can make Facebook ads for a lot of different opportunities. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the actual module for that part, and I'm gonna just get into the folder here. So Humber 2023, just to recap where we finished off last week was we started with Photoshop, and I wanted to really keep it simple and interactive and also immersive so you understand how Photoshop works as a powerful selection platform. Because without selections and fills and all these other attributes that it has, and of course layers, you can do a lot of things from scratch. And we just did this right from the beginning just to show you how Photoshop can be very creative. You don't really have, now with the AI generated fill options, you don't really need even images. You can do a lot of cool things with the AI stuff that's happening, right? So then we get into selections. This is the big part of the learning Photoshop module. We finished with this wonderful exercise here. This is a nice PDF step-by-step instructions on how to do this. So we basically had a situation where we had to put all these things together. No better way to learn Photoshop, but to know how to do something like this constructively. Because now you're learning how to harness the power of assembly, okay? How to do the actual layout and the composition of any type of creative design that you have to make. And that's what you want to do when it comes to web production, right? You want to create your own hero banner, right? You don't want to just get an image off the internet. You want to make your own, okay? Or an animated web banner or anything with that. You want to do a photo retouch in image. You want to get rid of a watermark. You can do all these things in Photoshop. You don't have to always resort on images or AI even. You can use AI, you can use images, and you can use your tools and your skills to make the right production happen. So the end result was this. We were able to put this thing together. We had some fun, and we learned how to use all the important tools in the software. Okay, so that was the end result there. And the best part is about these little Photoshop tutorials that I prepared for you is it's all step-by-step. So you can like do the actual PDF, and it shows you all the little steps along the way, right? So that's how these lessons are good going forward. I have a few of these coming up, so you're gonna have a lot of literature and hands-on on how to do this. So it's like a win-win for you guys. Okay, the next one's called cutouts. So with this one, we're gonna utilize this one and create a Facebook ad from it. Actually, no, I'll use the other one with the Facebook ad, the actual MacBook Pro resources. I'll keep this as an exercise, but there was times, I think we taught this in the marketing program, they made a Facebook ad out of this. You can just do the same thing. This is another, more like a finicky, advanced Photoshop thing. Not that important, but I'll cover it if I have time, because I really want to cover the important things, right? I don't want to waste time doing the miscellaneous things, because I can show you a lot of boring stuff and waste a lot of time, right? So we're going to do the important, the good stuff for the time that we have. So then we have this other one. This is a good one here, because the skills that you have going forward, you can reconstruct a photo. Okay, so now that's how really good you are with the Photoshop skills that you have. This will be like your test at the end. Your job will be to put this torn photo back together. It's like a CSI type of exercise. you reconstruct the evidence, okay? So let's start with this first, and then I'll talk about the Facebook ad after. I'll give you the details and the instructions and what to do, right? So if you open this folder here, it's called L2 Cutouts. In case you're wondering, where did he get this folder from? I'll remind you one more time. So if you go under the, okay, it all started last week. Last week was the first introduction to Photoshop. So it's class number 8. So get it from there, lesson files. I just left it there, particularly at the beginning. So if you download this folder here, you will have 2 lesson, let me just remind myself, because like, oh yeah, selections. So you're gonna download the selections.zip file, and that contains all the folders that I have there for you. So please do that if you haven't, and then we're going to go ahead and follow up with that folder and finish the rest of the exercises. Okay, so class number 9, and this is where we're at right here. So we're gonna look at the Facebook assignment. I might have to postpone the date because it's due next week. I think you guys need more time than next week to get this done. So I might give you an extension for this, okay? Because I wanted to really kind of get started with the introduction, and then we're pretty good with scheduling. So we'll have like only 2 assignments and 1 project for this class remaining as the module goes. So I'm gonna probably give you an extra week for this, and then you'll have an extra week for that one and the project. So we should be okay. So let me do that right now before I forget. So today's the 8th, 15th is the next week. So this is due on the 22nd, okay? 22nd, all right? It's due. So you have 2 weeks for this assignment. So for this assignment, okay, since I'm on it right now, might as well cover it. You'll be designing a social media ad that will be featured on Facebook and Instagram, because you can do both at the same time now, because they're both affiliated by the Meta platform. A lot of the businesses take on these channels to boost their brand or product awareness. You don't have to be an expert to start advertising on Facebook. More than 2 billion people, or billions of people, use Facebook every month. Now it's like every day, they say. So no matter what the kind of audience you want to reach, you'll find them absolutely at that Facebook channel. Find them there. You would choose your own client, fictional or real, and create an ad using the tools in Photoshop with the proper size requirements, etc. Good luck and have fun. So first, you're going to choose your objective. If you guys want a theme, I mean, I can give you a lot of different ideas if you want to do a Facebook ad for a brand or a company, for anything. If you have like a friend or something like that, maybe you have a business, you can make your own ad, okay? So it gives you less open flexibility. You're gonna pick a design format. Well, that's already chosen for you, it's Photoshop. You have to use Photoshop, okay? Because that's what we're learning how to do. And you're gonna output a JPEG. Now, you can also do a PNG or a JPEG. That's what Facebook and social media likes. Okay, so those are the 2 formats. And last week we looked at different output formats and how big they were, and compressions and abbreviations and stuff like that. So the JPEG would be ideal for this, or PNG, but I say JPEG. And the final size, 1080 by 1080 pixels with a 72 DPI resolution. So this is how you have to make sure you know how to set up your Facebook ad. I'll be surprised, a lot of people still don't know how to format things the right size. I still get wrong sizes sometimes. I even see professionals sometimes make this mistake. So first you start off with the size, and then you start with the composition. You can't, start the other way around. Like they say, you can't put the carriage in front of the horse. It doesn't work like that. Because then you're gonna have a problem with everything else that you're trying to do. So basically you start with the size, and then you put the stuff inside the size. And I'm gonna teach you that approach today. These are the project expectations. I want to see a minimum of 5 layers, including typography. So you're going to use typography in Photoshop as well as images, and that's part of the layer structure. Various selection methods demonstrated. So that's a given because you have to use selections. Layer blends and layer styles are optional, but I do want to see at least 1 or 2 in them in there. and I'll explain to you what layer styles and layer blends are. And finally, a Photoshop format, because I want to see your layers, of course, along with a JPEG for the final submission. You're going to give me your work file, and you're going to give me your social media file, so I can see how it's going to be displayed. Because if you upload it, Facebook won't let you upload Photoshop, right? It'll say, what is this, right? It won't accept it. You can only upload JPEG. So from Photoshop, you produce a JPEG file, and then you upload to Facebook, Facebook, Instagram. You know, you can even do LinkedIn if you want with the same size. They're all accepted. TikTok might be different with the mobile format, but they're all pretty much the same. I see a lot of formats that are stretched and stuff, even in videos. So you can use this for multi-purpose. A submission with Blackboard, unless file exceeds 100 megs. I really doubt it. Your files are going to exceed 100 megs, so you should be okay. All right. I rarely, because this is like a smaller size. And the rubric's the same. You have a criteria. Make sure you met all the objectives that you do, technical and creative. That's how we rate all our creative assignments, based on these 3 rubric breakdowns. Okay. And this is just an example of a Lego ad. You guys know Lego, the brand, that the kids play with. So this was a kind of like what it might look like on, I think this is like more like an Instagram design. But the design that you're gonna make will be in this area here. This is just what the post might look like when you publish it. So you don't concern yourself with that. If you wanna do a mock-up and make it look like a real ad, sure. But I'm really honestly focusing on what you do inside here. This one has the logo, has the typography, like the main title, and has the design. You don't have much time to communicate with people, the audience. Like put yourself in their position. Do you guys look at every ad? No, you just scroll. You don't care, right? So people just, unless they really catch their attention, they'll look at your ad. So keep it simple and keep it very attractive, okay? Because it has to capture the audience. Like this is a good example of that, because you can, in 2 seconds, you can interpret what the ad is. I use the billboard analogy. When you're driving down the freeway or the highway and you see like a billboard design on the traffic, you don't have more than 1 second, 2 seconds to look at the ad. That they strategically make it very simple so it captivates the message. You don't have 10 seconds to read what the ad says. No, you got 2 seconds. That's it. So keep it simple, because people's attention span is also not that good these days. People have no patience. Everyone's like in a hurry. Everyone's rushing. Me included. Everyone's like that. So you have to kind of make sure everybody is adhered to and you're doing this properly. Okay, keep the rules in perspective. All right, so as I said, I gave you an extension because I thought it was next week was a little too soon, and I didn't want to give you the assignment right away. So we have a good time ahead of us. It's due on the 22nd, so you still have a good time. I want to see a good job, because I know you guys are capable of doing a good job with this. I can already see a lot of you have a creative potential, so that's really good, okay? All right, so that's pretty much what's it coming up soon. I'll give you another assignment later on. The last one will be an animation for a website. You're gonna do an animation with me, okay? So we'll do a nice quick little animated GIF. And the project, you'll design a website, but that's something else we'll talk about. So that's all we have left in this class until the end of the year. Because today's what, the 8th? And this semester ends on the 15th of December. So we have, a good 5 weeks left, right? Something like that. Okay, so let's continue now to learn more of the software. So I want you to open this zip file that I asked you to download earlier. You'll have 4 folders inside that folder. We finished this last week. Now we're gonna start with this folder this week. So these are your steps, okay? Open the file, all that stuff. And this will teach you how to do quick mask with color selection. Very important, advanced kind of approach. Okay, so we're gonna do image amalgamation. I'm gonna show you how to put an image inside another image, how to use extraction selection techniques, various selection methods, and things like that. So let's go ahead and open this file here. How do you open 2 files at the same time? So what I'm gonna do is watch this. If I hold Shift, I can select 2 files together. If you have a PC, you can hold I think Control. You can then click the files you want. You can then right click, open with Photoshop. Okay? And you can open up both files in there. They're both PSD files intentionally. And when Photoshop opens, you'll see the tabs show you what's available. You'll have this tab over here, this tab over here. Photoshop is very similar to Illustrator. For example, you have two images, right? Let me first show you how you can control your environment. One thing is make sure though, in case you missed last week, I don't know if all of you were here, under Workspace, you want to keep it Essentials default. But we saved our workspace last week. Remember, we did all the customization and we called it November 1st, 2023 workspace. So if you want to go ahead and maybe reset or click Essentials defaults, okay? But it'll look like this. The only thing is this, I want this tool palette to become two columns. It's just so it's easier to see this area. Because if this area is very muted, it's hard to kind of show you what I'm saying. I'll be like, you know, click over here. It's very hard to see. So if you have it open like this, you're maximizing the important stuff to be more visible and clear, especially when you're learning. When you're advanced, who cares? Like, you can make it as small as you want. But when I'm giving you instructions and when we're learning the software, it's good to have this set up. So, okay, and the palettes, just make sure the layer palette is more visible than the rest of them. You don't want to do like stuff like this. Right? You want the layers, you don't want the layers to be like that, because then you have to scroll through this small area to work through your you know, designs and images. So you want to make sure this surpasses the halfway point, so it takes up a good amount of real estate on your screen. So make sure this is more dominant, okay? So a lot of layer space right here. So those are the main simple things I want to point out. So make sure this image is there. There's the other image here, right? Watch one more thing before we start. We're talking interface design here, right? Because that's how they made the interface for this program. This image, if you drag it like this, right? And if you let go of the mouse, it's a floating image, right? It's still Photoshop, but it's floating. This is what Photoshop used to look like 15 years ago. 15 years ago, Photoshop had floating windows. It didn't have tabs, right? Then they switched it to the tab method, and I believe it was CS4. And it was weird because people were like, well, what do I do now? How do I drag and drop? Well, because you can't drag and drop when you're, let me put it back. How do you drag and drop if it's like this? Because if it was like this way, you can just go drag and drop, right? Well, you can still do it, it's more tedious. You have to go into the tab, hold the mouse, let go, do one of those. I'll show you how to do that. But what I'm trying to say is you can customize your interface. Whether you're used to the traditional interface, some of you may use Photoshop before or have an older version, you can still pull out your windows and put them back. Put them back like this. Drag, you wait, see how it turns blue, right? The highlighted blue means you're snapping it into origin. So now it's back where it's supposed to be. So these are cool little things you should know as you work with the program and you maneuver various files at the same time. All right, so that's one thing I want to point out. Second, let's start with this image. I'm going to hit Command plus, Command minus. So get comfortable with your shortcuts. We're going to select, the job is to select the motorcycle and the stunt rider, okay? So to do that, we're going to go under, we can use selection methods, like remember the magic wand, we can use all these things from last week, right? You can select and you can say inverse, but I want to teach you more things, right? So there's times where I remember we have to select a color like red or yellow or something more specific. In this case, we'll select the gradient of the background, which is like sky. You got like a blue and a lighter blue, right? So we're gonna go under select, and we're gonna go to color range. So this is a very popular way to select color in Photoshop, even backgrounds, even almost anything, right? So if you do color range, Photoshop gives you this little extra thumbnail. And this thumbnail, this little black window here, shows you what's being selected. Right now, there's nothing. But if I go in sample, and this is all default, you don't have to do any settings and stuff, it's set up. As you get more experience, you could play around with it. But honestly, there's so many settings here that if I was to waste time telling you what they do, I mean, if it's important, I will. But a lot of times I'll be like, leave it alone because it's set up as the default setting as the developer intended it to do so, right? Unless you really have to increase the fuzziness and stuff, you can. But the default is good, okay? All you do now is you click over here and you select that range of blue. Notice how in the thumbnail, it shows you that appeared white. Basically, if you keep clicking on different parts, it's gonna select different colors. If I click on the red, it's gonna select all the red parts in the image, or maybe the dark red, and so on and so forth, okay? Or the black, right? So the trick is to select the blue, right? But watch this technique now. With my other hand, I'm gonna hold shift. Because remember, shift, as we learned last week, shift adds, option subtracts. So if I hold shift and I click on this other corner, it's gonna pick up the other shade of blue, right? Some people hold shift and drag the mouse. You can do that. You can go shift and just drag the mouse. You can do that too. Click, hold, drag. Or you can just go click, shift, drag across that way, right? So I went vertically top down and I went right left. I didn't touch the bike because my intention is to select the background. And look how a nice job it did selecting the background like that. See, this kind of beats a lot of selection methods because of the purpose of being very accurate in selecting those pixels in that range of color. So now you can see the black and the white is what it is. You can still do the, right? So just leave this alone, sampled colors. There is an advanced way you can actually pick the colors, but honestly, this is the most preferred, popular way to do it, the way I showed you. So leave it alone, okay? What you want to do next, everybody? Oh, you can do invert. Invert will do the opposite. But see, invert will kind of not show you the target that I'm getting at. So I would leave it a default, and you'll see what invert does. Invert does the opposite, right? It's like putting on your shirt backwards in the morning. You're like, oh, shoot, what did I just do, right? It happens sometimes. So it's like the opposite of what it is, invert or inverse selection, popular term. So if I go ahead and click the OK button now, what's going to happen is this. It's going to make a selection of the background, right? Now, looking at my notes over here that I prepared for you, I just did this right now as I explained it. It's written for you, right? And then you can do color range, inverse, and stuff. But I want to show you quick mask mode. This is where it gets really, really interesting, okay? So the interesting part is when you go here, and you're gonna learn the ultimate selection companion right now. Remember this, okay? Q. If you press Q, not Command Q, because you're gonna quit the software or the Control Q, just Q by itself. It'll give you what's called a quick mask mode. And this is how professionals perfect their selections, okay? This is like the go-to mode for almost everyone that loves Photoshop. So if you zoom in, right? And if you hold the space bar, makes you pan the picture. Space bar, right? So you zoom right in there. You can see, I don't care how good of a selection method AI comes up with, it's never gonna beat the human eye, okay? You can see how I missed some parts there. Okay, you can also see how I missed some parts over here, maybe some over here. So you can manually be in control. So to do that, you press B for brush, like a paintbrush. So if you do that, this is the tool right here. I'm selecting the brush tool, and there I'm gonna select the brush hardness. I will leave the hardness at like 90 or 95. I like to keep it high. And the size, I'll keep it like around maybe 10. So maybe I'll do like 10. I'll just type it in, 10, 90, right? Here's another one of my favorite tricks of controlling your brush size in Photoshop. Make sure caps lock is off. Because if it's on, you won't see the radius of the brush. You'll see a crosshair, and the crosshair is really unpredictable. You don't know how big the brush is. If you make sure caps lock is disabled. Number 2, beside the letter P, there's 2 square brackets. One is, you know, the JavaScript curly brackets? Those two. Look what the left one does. Smaller, bigger, you see? It's a nice way to control your brush size while you're perfecting your selection. And number 3, make sure you have black as your foreground color, because black adds to the mask. White subtracts from the mask. So it's about adding or subtracting. Black or white, no gray. Gray is like a transparent black, not acceptable. So you gotta make sure that's 100% black. How do I make sure it's 100% black? Press D on the keyboard. Or if you just click on the black, you can see it's 0, 0. If you see 0, 0, 0 values for RGB and CMYK, that's black. Look, even the hexacode is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's ultimate true black for any website, for any color selection. And white is 100, 255, 255, 255, and it's F, 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 F. Okay, so that's your ultimates, blacks and whites. So let's keep it at 0, 0, 0, 100% black, or just press D on the keyboard for default. Default will always give you black and white. Okay, so now let's zoom in, and let's fix this stuff, because you can see all these pixels. Some of them were not really cut out to be. So I'm gonna get the areas that I missed, you see? I'm gonna get some of the areas here. I'm just painting them in there, right? So look, I missed an area over here, because there's a little bit of blue in the bike that I had to get, right? Even here, look, see the pants and stuff, right? And you're gonna ask me, well, why is it red? Why does it look red? Because red is the default color. It's a 50% opaque or transparent red. This Q thing that I showed you about, it's over here. See, quick mask mode. That's why I want this palette to be 2 columns. Because if I double click here, see red, 50%. So it's red 50%. That's why it's red. Okay? Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and fix some of my selections that I missed. Now, what's good about this is precision. Look at this. Like, let's say you have a picture of a cat with whiskers or hair. That's the most hardest thing to capture. So with this, you can get every little pixel that you desire. Like, I'm going to zoom in here. You see I missed all these. I'm going to use actually the pencil tool. Yes, there's a pencil tool underneath the brush tool. The pencil tool's just that small. And I can even make it like 1 pixel. 1 pixel is the smallest thing you can do is 1 pixel. You can't do less than 1 pixel, okay? So watch this. I can draw this. You think I draw a straight line? Not bad. Not perfect, right? How do you draw a straight line? Thank you. Very good. Shift. So watch this. You click once, you hold shift, you click on the other side, and you draw a straight line. It's pixel, so it's not going to look straight, but still. Click, shift, click, shift, click, shift, or shift click is how you draw straight lines. Now, mind you, the picture is not the greatest quality, but if it was, you can see a better resolution of what the outcome may be like. Do me a favor, you don't have to do every spoke. I'm just teaching you how to utilize all these techniques, okay? So you don't have to really do all this. I'm just showing you. You can see how much detail you can do just by simple using the shift click technique. Same as over here. My computer just froze. Have to buy a new computer today? What do you think? No, computer. I think it's because I'm sharing the screen at the same time. See here? Yeah, it's something, this image froze, I think, so I'm gonna go back here. Do another, weird, okay. I'm gonna have to just close this one down, reopen it. If you're doing it, just keep going. I'll catch up to you in a second. I'm just going to reopen it. Just going to double click, open the picture. There it is. Select. We did what's called the color range. I think it was the pixels that did it. I think I already remembered my choice from before. I'll just click OK. Okay, press Q. I'm back where I left off, okay? I use the brush tool, and the brush tool let me capture all the pixels. And the pencil, I guess it was very minuscule and tedious. It basically froze my process, so I had to reopen the picture. So be careful if that happens to you, maybe because it's the detail, the level of detail perhaps of the picture. Okay, anyways, what happens next? Once you're finished and you have a perfect selection, you see how much control you have here? Oh yes, I forgot to show you the most important thing. What happens if you do this? Watch everybody, keep watching here. Look at this. Oops. Now what? Command Z? I can do Command Z. Okay. But how about if I forget? How about if I do this and tomorrow I find out I did that? Because Command Z only works so many steps. Use the white color. Very good. If you use white, it'll erase it. If you use black, it'll add it. Remember? Add, subtract. So all you do is you press X. X switches black. I pressed Z by accident. X switches the black and the white. X switch. So if you put the white on top of the black, foreground, white, that's called foreground color. That's called background color. If the white's on top of the black, what you can do then with the brush is basically delete the stuff you don't want. How much control is that? You see? So you can literally clean it up, press X, put it back, and the sky's the limit, basically. I just showed you like one of the most powerful methods in Photoshop of doing selections using quick masking. Okay? And the other methods work too. But this in combination with that is superior. Okay? So now you have a perfect selection. You know how to edit it and fix it. Now it's time to go back to selection. Because right now, it's like the light switch. When I turn it on and off, it's a different world. Like night versus day, right? Photoshop now doesn't care about nothing except mask mode. You're in mask mode. You have to exit mask mode. So what you do is you turn off this switch, or you press Q. Remember Q? So press Q. Now you're in normal mode, standard mode. Because before you were in quick mask mode. Does that make sense? So you can't be in quick mask mode any longer. Once you're done, you go back to selection mode or standard mode, okay? So remember those things because those are important. Now what's selected, the background or the bike? How do I know what's being selected? What's selected right now? What do you think is selected? The background. Do you know why? Because I can see the selection go like this. That's why I know it's the background, right? But I want to select the bike, not the background, because if I press Q, that's my target, correct? But see, I see a lot of tutorials on YouTube and other things. They do the opposite. They would color everything but the subject, and that's a lot of work. That's not necessary. So I think this is clever and smart. You do the target, which is less painting, less work, okay? And when you're ready, all you do is you go select, inverse. So when you inverse, it selects the opposite of the background, which selects the bike. So if you press Q now, you can see the difference, right? Based on the selection, it switches from one to the other. You don't have to do the Q, I'm just showing you. You can just select inverse, okay? Copy. You can copy the pixels. Because think about it, you're copying those selected areas or those pixels from this image. When you copy this image and you click on the other image, you can then go ahead and paste those pixels into the other image to start your composition. So all you do is you hit paste, and there it is. So copy, you can just do shortcuts, copy, paste. When you paste, you have to be in this move tool. The move tool is your main tool for Photoshop to move things around. You might also want to do this. Remember, edit, free transform, Command T. So some of these shortcuts you might have to write down and learn. Command T, Q, copy and paste you know already. But these are the ones that are very, very popular and used throughout most of the workflow in Photoshop. So if you do free transform, all you do then is just make the picture a little bigger, and you can do lots of cool things. You can, look, you can rotate it if you want, right? You can do lots of cool things, and you can make it go fly across the thing. All right? Let me show you one more way. This is important. Instead of copy and paste, because I know last week we did Command J. Command J is like copy and paste, but it happens in the same document. So if I press Command J or just copy and paste, it'll take this on a separate layer. So now this layer is copy and paste. It's a duplicate, right? So how do I drag and drop it instead of copy and paste it? So watch this. You ready? I'm going to drag this up here. Wait, hold the mouse, drag it down here, let go of the mouse. There it is. So you can drag and drop if you want, but it's very tedious. You can also do this. Watch this. You move the window, and this layer, drag it here, let go. So you have many ways of doing it. I like copy and paste just to keep the documents tabbed. So there's 3 ways to do it, probably more, but those are the main 3. Okay? Now you have to look for it. So it's over here. I'm going to dock it back here, and there you go. So that was the main premise of the exercise, to teach you how to amalgamate 2 documents, how to do color range selection, and learn quick mask. Very, very important stuff. Okay? All right. Any questions? All right, let's put this away, because we got a lot of things to do today, so this is not the only thing. So let's put this one away. You don't have to save it. You can save this if you want. You can save this one. That's fine. All right. Then you have this one here. This one I want you to just watch. This one, don't do this one. Just watch me do this one, just to cover it. This is it's not new anymore, but at the time when this came out, it was like a new feature where it protects some of the pixels in the software. You might find this useful maybe if you have an image that you have to insert, let's say, to a website or something, and it's not the desired width. You can really do some cool stuff with this on its own. So I'm going to open it up to show you. Okay, there's a picture of one of those destination weddings, and notice how this person is further away from the other people there. So how do we kind of amalgamate the picture, or how do we crop it to these guidelines? Because if you do edit, you know, free transform, and you do this, right? Look what happens, right? All got taller and skinnier. This is a no-no. You don't want to distort the picture. I see this every day on the internet. Ads, I see it on print. Like people just do what I think, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You can't do this. This is not acceptable, right? So how do you squish an image without distorting the people? This is a powerful thing that Photoshop kind of integrated. So what you do is this. There's a feature called content aware scale. Content aware is aware of the content in the picture. It's like AI built, so it's AI powered technology within the software. Before ChatGPT and all these things that came out. This is like 5 years old, okay? It's not new, but it's there. So what you do with content aware scale is this. You drag the picture, you bring it in, and it knows that those people are people and the background is background. So if you just keep doing this, it's gonna do that nicely for you, right? It's a good way to do it. If you overdo it, eventually it's not going to work, right? But this has a little flaw. And the flaw is sometimes, look at the water. It's a little rough right now. It's like a tsunami, right? And if you look at the hand, it's a little distorted. So it's not perfect. But you can make it perfect by using the same method I demonstrated earlier. So like I said, I'll show you how to do this, but you don't have to really put much effort into it, just so you know. So I'm going to press Command Z, right? I'm going to zoom in here. First, I did the analyzation. I realized that the hand was the problem, right? I think the other hand also, this one also was an issue. But let's just do one thing at a time. Let's just say this was the thing that we noticed as a flaw. How do we fix it? So I go to quick mask mode. Remember Q, quick mask mode, right off the bat. I'm going to use the brush, and I'm going to use a smaller brush here. I'm going to zoom in, and just basically protect this area. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as I protect that part of the hand that is there, right? So we're going to go here, protect our hand. There we go, okay? Okay, like that. Now I'm going to go back to Q. Select inverse. Remember, you got to select inverse, because then it selects only this area. Then I'll go select, save selection. So the most powerful thing in Photoshop with 4 layers is called alpha channels. Alpha channels are saved selections, and saved selections can carry through other software. Like you can save selections and go to Adobe Premiere and do a video, and you can have transparency in those selections. Like, you know, movies like The Matrix and the green screen, the Marvel. It's the same concept, superimposing with different alpha channel transparency backgrounds. Same process. The difference is special effects, videos take a different form. Photoshop is more imagery. So if I do save selection, and I call this arm, artem, how about just arm? I'll call it arm in this document. Okay, right? Deselect. Here's what happens. If you go to channels, the arm is right there. It's saved. There's another one that's given to you for the second example. It's these people here, because I'll show you how this works the same way that this works. Basically, I'll show you the power of saving selections in other methods, not just for this purpose, for many, many, many purposes, okay? So if someone tells you they know how to use Photoshop and you ask them how to use alpha channels, this is how you really understand the software, because channels has always been there. Do you know channels was there before layers came out? Do you know there was no layers before? No, there was no layers. You have to do everything in channels and selections to build the composition, right? So now with layers, it's more flexible, but channels are still very integral to knowing how to control certain attributes of the software. So having said that, let's see how this all plays out. So I have this image here. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to, content aware scale. And we know what happens if we do this and if I do this. So what happened was her hand got destroyed, right? So to prevent that from happening is I'm going to do content aware scale. This time I'm going to go look up here and it says protect. Protect what? Protect the arm. Because I saved that as a selection. Remember? Don't worry if this is too technical for you. Just kind of know that you can do that with alpha channels. You can always learn it later. This is not something you want to memorize. I just want to show you some of the other things you can do with, again, production techniques, right? So this is some of the stuff you can do that's really important. So watch this now. I'm protecting the arm, which we controlled. So now if I do this, and if I do that, press enter, right? Zoom in. No problem. See? So that's how you can really, really control the software to like its full potential by learning these other methods, not just layers and selections, alpha channels too. All right, now look at the other example. This one's given to you. If you want to play around with this, there's another, couple of teenagers hanging out in the forest. If I do edit free content aware scale, and I do this. This one's worse. Look what happens. Look what happens to this. This is not acceptable. Okay? You can't do this and put it on the website. But with the power of alpha channels, because remember, so you can go quick mask the 3 people, right? Save the selection like I showed you earlier, right? And if you do this, please don't do this kind of stuff, because then you're really entering the twilight zone. or basically you're messing around with the visibility of channels. Just basically just click on this to reset it, okay? That's what that means. Just don't click on the eyeballs. Just click on here. But just that's the alpha channel. That's the RGB. So if you go to layers right now and you go to edits, you want to do content aware scale, right? But this one, because look, protect, it's called scale, but I can call it, something else if I want. Whatever the name you give it is what it is, right? Because this is called scale, right? I can rename it something else. It doesn't have to be called scale. So once you do that, you protect the scale, and you do this. There's the result. See? So very powerful stuff you can do with the software. It's like freezing those pixels and controlling the rest of the pixels. All right. Okay. So that was that. I wanted to demonstrate it. Nothing that you have to do. I just want you to be aware that's there. And if you want to go through it, there's a whole tutorial. I mean, I demonstrated it. It's recorded, and you can actually follow some of the steps that are here. There's the steps. Okay. The only thing that's not here is I show you how to make an alpha channel, because that's something you have to kind of learn, okay? All right, let's move on to the next. This one you can do with me. This is called, which one is this one again here? It's called ripped. I want to see how you can utilize the power of selection and quick mask and put this photo back together. Okay, so this is, if you want to, remember you asked me before, do you have quizzes to give us? Well, this could be a nice quiz. You have 10 minutes. Go ahead, start now. I'm kidding, I'm not doing this quiz thing. But if I was, this would be a good thing, right? Fix this photo. Go ahead. So what are you going to do? Where are you going to start? So you open it up. Right, it's a Photoshop file. There's no instructions for this, okay? You have to put this back together. So think logically, what would you do, right? So what would help you fix this together? What's the number one thing that you have to do? Sorry? Float? Who? What do you mean, SDS? Right. Oh, the stairs. Yeah. But everything, you want to do, what method do you want to use? Selections and layers, right? So selections and layers, and you want to put everything together. And you can use the stairs as a guide, I guess, yeah, to do that. So if you go here, let's use the methods we learned last week and this week. Let's put all the knowledge together and fix this problem. Because this might be a problem. You might have to, here's an image. Sorry, this is all we have. Can you fix it for us? You have to fix it, right? So let's start with the top left corner. So I can start with, honestly, I will go right to it. So magnetic lasso tool is good, okay? Another one that might be good is this one here, the quick selection tool. Those two tools might help me finish this, reconstruct the photo. You can work for the police and do this for the, maybe putting evidence together, okay? The government, a lot of people do this for crime investigation, right? Put the CSI scene back together. So you can look at it from many angles, right? So here we go. I'm gonna use the magnetic lasso tool. I'm gonna start here at the corner, right? I'm just gonna click with the mouse and just wait and follow very carefully the pixels. I'm using a mouse, by the way. I'm gonna go right across. And then at the corner here, I'm gonna click again and just follow my lead here. Nice and easy. Don't go fast because you might miss a few pixels. But Photoshop is very good at detecting the contrast between the pixels and the opposing pixels in contrast to one another. So if you click here, and then you finish what you started. So I went all the way around. But this is not all. This is what I'm getting at. When you finished, you press Q for quick mask mode. This is when you fix the parts you missed, because it might not be perfect. Nothing's perfect. So you have to use quick mask mode and fix the selection. So when you zoom in right now, you go to the brush. There's the brush tool. Make the size a little bigger. And you see how I missed this part? I'm just going to click. Oh, I'm going to switch to white. White will be my foreground color. I'm going to go click, shift, click. And if you notice here, I missed a few more spots. I can add them, or I can subtract them. Press X, and I can take these pixels out. So by using quick mask mode in conjunction with any selection mode, you can have this thing resolved. And then once I investigate it properly, I zoom out, done. When I'm done, I press Q, back to selection mode. And the trick here is this. That's all in one background layer. So you take that in a separate layer. So copy, paste, or Command J. Once that's on a separate layer, name it top left corner. You can hide this layer to see it. And then grab this and move it somewhere else. So you can see it's separated from the original picture. If you do this for all the rest of them, you can eventually assemble this together. Okay? The next step would be this: edit, free transform, and you can go ahead and just rotate this way. For now, you can always fix it after. The next one, you get it from the background again, just like last week's exercise. You got to go to the background, initiate the selection process, copy and paste. Same thing, background. There's 5 parts. Top left, top right, bottom left, bottom middle, and bottom right. That's your targets. So I'm going to do the next one now, okay? When you're finished, I want you to say this is a JPEG file, and you're going to upload it here. I'm going to create a discussion group. We'll do more of this coming for the remainder of the semester. I'm going to create a discussion group here, and we're going to upload it here under the discussion group. So we're going to go create, it's called the discussion group. The name will be image reconstruction. Exercise. This is an exercise, okay? Don't worry, it's not a quiz, but I want you to treat it like that, all right? So this way you time pressure type of situation. So image reconstruction, and then I'm going to upload it here, okay? So this is where we upload the finished results. Okay? So if you now go to Blackboard, you should make this visible. So you can access this when you're finished, you click and you upload your file. So you simply go to the attachment, and you upload the finished version, okay? You're gonna do a JPEG for me too. So let me go ahead and, I'll do it with you. I'm not gonna just leave you hanging. Let me just do one more. So I'll do this part now. Background layer, watch this. I'm not going to use the magnetic anymore. You can if you want, but I'm going to use this other one. I'm going to use the quick selection tool. This one's very good because what I'll do with this, watch this carefully. I'm just going to go click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Right? Done. 2 seconds. Press Q. You can see what I missed. I go to the brush and I fix what I don't. Look, what's it? Shift click. Straight line. You fix, you perfect your selection. You investigate. Oh, look, I missed this skateboard part. I'm going to press X and just take it away. And press X again and add this back. Right? Oh, even this. Look, I forgot this part here. It's part of the picture. I mean, There's no hole in there. I think I missed this whole part. There we go. Right? When I'm done, I press Q, Command J, new layer, top right corner. I move the picture up here. You can hide the background. If it gets too distracting, just hide the background layer. Move it to the corner here. Edit. Free transform. That's your best friend right there. Now watch how free transform works. You see this little pivot point? I'm going to move it here. This is called the registration. Where the registration's here, and I rotate it, it's going to rotate it from that angle. You see? So you can really control how this is put together like that. And then I press enter. But you have to be there to do it, okay? So you have to do the registration. And you, look, the arrows on the keyboard, down, 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 up, 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 because you can really do accurate job. Sometimes the mouse is too jerky, so use the arrows to put it right like that, you see? Right? And then you do the rest of the images to get this done. Okay? So I'm going to give you like some time to do this. I want you to do it now, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and use the background layer again. I'll do the rest to show you. I'm going to hide these. So those are the two methods I recommend. You can use the magnetic lasso or the quick selection tool. If you really want to go, you can try the object. This one works too. Object selection tool, that works too. Because that one you can go like this. Well, you can go select. Or you can just click inside. It'll do it too, right? There, that works too. But this one, it's not perfect. Look, it missed the black, you see? So you have to fix it. Yes, that's why quick mask mode is very useful. Then you go use the brush tool and you fix it. Okay, quick mask mode again. Command J, bottom right. Let me show you the registration one more time. Look, the registration in this case will happen here, right? The registration is going to go right there where the corner is. So what I do for that is I move this registration here. You just move the registration. So when you rotate, it rotates from that angle. So it's easier to kind of grasp, and you can kind of do even like that, right? Press enter, and then go up, 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 up. Just put it together like that, right? You got to do the registration and then move it up like that when you do it. Okay, so then we'll do the next parts as well. 2 to go. Same, repeat, repeat, repeat. Here's another piece right here. I'm using the object selection tool, okay? Press Q, perfect the selection. If there's anything that I have to fix, I do it right now using the brush tool. So with the brush tool, I'm able to fix and control all my little areas here, right? Press Q again. Make sure these are all visible. Command J, copy paste. Bottom, middle. I move this right over here. I press Command T. Registration goes in this corner, on the top left corner. You can also move it up here in the top corner, up here. So if you do it this way now, it's going to move this together with that. Press enter and just nudge it with the keyboard to the right amount that you have to put it in. There. I said one left. Quick mask mode. It's good. Command J. Well, now it's working. Bottom left. So it's good to name your targets. Bottom left, bottom right, bottom middle, top left, top right, top middle, whatever you have, right? You can orient it better with name convention. So now you have this other one here. We move it up. Command T. This one I won't use a reference point. I'm just gonna manually do the actual integrated position, okay? So we're gonna go like this here, maybe a little bit this way. Okay? And that's how you put the picture back together. Now you're gonna ask me, hey, how about this part? This is when you have to come up with your own tricks, right? Because to do this part, you have to do what's called cloning, right? And sometimes you could do, you know, a little bit of cut and paste. Like I can literally go, just to show you simple, right? I can go literally and grab these pixels here, like this. Oops, see. I'm gonna use the lasso tool. I can grab these pixels here. I grab those pixels there. What layer is that? Make sure you're in the right layer. That's the layer, yes. Command J. And these pixels now can go, I can move them, resize them in that area, but I can put them at the very back too, right? So it's kind of covering that up. And there's other things I'll teach you, cloning and touching up. I just want to do a simple solution now so you can see how this works. Right? The main thing is I want you to know how to use selection, quick mask, and transform. Those three things. Show me that. Don't worry about the last thing I did. That's irrelevant. That's another class altogether. I'm going to teach you how to do photo retouching. That's different. This is reconstruction. Retouching is different. Retouching is when you get in there and remove blemishes of people's faces. You can remove objects. You can replace things, right? It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Uh-huh.
There are tools that can smoothen the letters inside the document, make it like better.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. There's a smoothing tool. There's a few methods, but very, very articulate, very, very specific. Yeah. Yeah, it's different. Because it's now with AI, I think it's a little more possible than before. I think there is Adobe Firefly has a tool where you can reconstruct sharpness and you can sharpen the pixels. It's a very advanced method, that one. But I'm sure there's ways. Yeah. Is it easy? I don't think so. You have to yeah. Okay, when I'm done, look what I do. The crop tool, everybody. The crop tool, I'm gonna crop the picture like this. Press enter, right? I'm gonna flatten the image. So I'm gonna go to layer, flatten image. Because I don't care at this point, I'm done, right? Flatten the picture. When I flatten it, all the layers become one. and I save it as a JPEG, not a Photoshop file. I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and I'll call it Riptorn copy finished. And I'll save it in the same folder, click OK, and basically show you before, after, before and after. So that's how you put this whole thing back together, okay? So when you're done, I want you to go ahead and upload this to the discussion I made over here by going to attachments, going to the folder, and uploading the finished version like this, and upload it to the discussion group, view and download. So you can click save, and you can see here that it's uploaded. And when I see everybody, I can see your response. Simply just hit respond and do your version, okay? I want you to do this so I know that you're understanding what I'm showing you. It proves to me that you're on point, okay? All right. So I'm gonna give you like 10, 15 minutes to do this, and then we'll grab a break. When we come back from break, I gotta talk about the Facebook project again, the ad, and I'm gonna show you how to start it, okay? I'm gonna show you how to start it. Because next week we'll do some more advanced techniques, and maybe we can finish it next week if you get started today, next week you can finish it, and you can finalize it for the week after to hand it in, okay? So you can do really good on this one. So that means this recording here will stop right now. I'm going to continue it after when I come back. So stop recording.